Ever since Sony announced that Marvel's Spider-Man Remastered was making its way over to Steam, I've had one simple wish: that come its release date, I would be able to play as the masked Menace while on the toilet, in bed, or getting a filling done at the dentist. Something I spend an extraordinary amount of time doing because I never learn any lessons ever. Chocolate good. Moving on. Thankfully, my wish has been granted by the teams over at Nixxes and Insomniac, as Spider-Man Remastered has been verified for the Steam Deck. I've been playing the game portably for a few days now to see if reality can live up to the picture I've spent months creating in my head, and the short answer is it does. With some very minor tweaking to the game's visuals, seen here, I've found that Spider-Man runs comfortably on the Steam Deck at a nearly solid 30 frames per second. To my eye at least, the game performs as well on the Steam Deck as it did on a base PlayStation 4 when it originally launched back in 2018. There are some very small hiccups here and there in some of the game's more built-up areas such as Times Square, some indoor scenes and some cutscenes. The frame rate can vary between 28 FPS to 30 FPS, but by and large the game runs smoothly no matter what spider-related activity you're undertaking. Surprisingly, the game's open world is by far the most consistent part of the game, with no noticeable frame drops while web-swinging through densely populated New York streets. A good thing, because this is where you spend the majority of your time in Spider-Man. The only real issue you'll face is battery life. With the settings I mentioned earlier, you're looking at around an hour and a half's worth of gaming time before you'll need to recharge. This is to be expected for such a big 3D action game, of course, but it's a noticeable issue nonetheless. It's also worth mentioning that core temps run on the upper end of the scale here, with CPU temperatures frequently hitting the high 80s to low 90s, regardless of whether you're swinging through New York or doing side activities. Sadly, this means that the deck's fans are going to be running overtime constantly. It's a little bit annoying, but seeing as I played the game originally on a base PlayStation 4, I'm pretty used to hearing the persistent scream of an overworked fan while playing Spider-Man. One final thought: I've been playing the game both on a desktop and the deck, swapping between the two to see which I prefer, and honestly I think I'm probably going to keep playing the game on the deck moving forward. The battery life and fan noise is definitely a bit irritating, but the game looks as nice on the deck smaller screen as it does on a desktop, at least to my eyes. And although higher frame rates are certainly nice to have, a solid 30 frames per second is more than enough for me. Anyway, enough waffling. Here's a chunk of open world gameplay to demonstrate how Spider-Man runs on the Steam Deck so you can see it in action for yourself. Thanks so much for watching. For all your PC gaming needs, make sure to check out rockpapershotgun.com, and I will see you next time.
All units, we have received reports of a break-in. Officers needed at Gracie Mansion. Please copy.
Officers needed to assist civilians trapped in their cars after a crash. Reported location is near Douglas.